Good morning. Devotional thought for you today comes from Psalm 89, verse 46. How long, O Lord, will you hide yourself forever? How long will your wrath burn like fire? Well, this is a sober verse, and it may come as a little surprise hearing this is your devotional thought for today, and even more so when you reflect that this is in the same psalm from which the last couple of devotionals have come. So Psalm 89 begins, I will sing of the steadfast love of the Lord forever. With my mouth I will make known your faithfulness to all generations. That's an exaltation, and goes on. We were in verse 8. O Lord God of hosts, who is mighty as you are, O Lord, with your faithfulness all around you. So it starts in praise to God and reflecting on his power and might. But the psalm takes a turn because this is being said not in a context where everything in life seems to be going swimmingly, but apparently in a time of great turmoil and suffering, and when God at least appeared to have abandoned his people, turned them over to their enemies. So you go on in the psalm and you read about God's great strength is described, and then there's an extended verses about his promises to the line of David, the great king of Israel. But then it comes in verse 38 to, but now you have cast off and rejected. You are full of wrath against your anointed, and goes on to talk about what they have suffered and how their enemies have overpowered them and they are beaten down. And that's where this cry comes in. How long, O Lord, will you hide yourself forever? How long will your wrath burn like fire? Just because you're suffering, of course, does not mean that you are experiencing God's wrath. Uh, though, God did discipline his people as recorded in the scriptures. But we shouldn't be too quick to jump on and say, oh, I'm suffering, therefore I must be experiencing God's wrath. And we especially shouldn't be too quick to think that about someone else. No, people suffer for all kinds of reasons. And Christians who are faithfully following the Lord will suffer in this life. But look at the way the plea turns back to God. Even though it is desperate, and you could even see a sort of almost despair in it in these words. How long, O Lord? Well, that's real to the way we feel when life is very difficult, when we are going through an extended time of suffering or bearing certain burdens or depression, whatever the case may be. And the response ought to mirror what this psalm shows, that when we are burdened and suffering, we still recognize God's steadfast love and we still call out to him because God cares about the downtrodden. And when you don't see a light at the end of the period of darkness you're going through, when you wonder if your suffering is going to end, the pain that you're going through, the grief that you're going through, when you wonder if the burdens you're carrying will ever be lifted off of your shoulders, call out to God who cares about you. He is able to strengthen and sustain you. He is able to lift your suffering in His time. Know that God is wise. Know that God is able. Know that God sees you and cares about you. Know that God is compassionate to all those who call out to Him. May the Lord strengthen you, carry you this day.